Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to the channel. And I'm coming to you today from Obarun Linux. This machine is a Dell Optiplex. It's running an i5 core processor and it has 32 gigabytes of RAM. Obarun Linux is based on Artix Linux, but it's systemd free. Let me close this terminal out here. This is their home page. You can read through it. The goal of Obarun is to provide an alternative for people looking for more simplicity and transparency in maintaining their system. It's not designed with beginners to Linux in mind. And I quoted that right here. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to give Obarun a go, then you're going to need to be prepared to do some research. That's going to start on this page right here. Of course, it'll go to the wiki. You'll end up eventually going to this wiki, I would think. Let's click on that. Actually, let me go back real quick. Here's the download. If you click on that, you'll have the option here. You can see by the discolored or little grayed out here, this is the one that I've installed, downloaded and installed. Here is the wiki. Again, it says they're not here to explain in detail how to use these desktop managers and the Runnit system. They're here to help, but not to explain in detail. And it refers to the Artix Linux wiki as being your main source, best source, it says here. When you come in, you're going to be running S6 and 66. And here's an intro to that. I'll make sure this link gets in the description. That's a good read. Here's the Obarun forum on how to manage services. Here's what is 66, one of the, I guess you'd say half of the service providers or init system. How to disable it, how to enable it. One thing I am having a problem, you'll see mounting swap and swap not found and swap. I even went to an Ubuntu page trying to figure this one out, and we'll go over that right now. Let's bring up, let's see, htop, pipe that to lolcat for the color. And right now with everything going, all those tabs open in Firefox, we're using 1.49 or 1.50 gigs, 1.5 gigs of memory. But if you'll notice under swap, it's listing 0. Let me cut out of this. If we say swap on -s to show us, it's not going to show anything. But if I run a lsblk, you'll see I do have a partition SDA2, 8 gigabytes. That's what I set up for swap. Now I did that during the installation, but for some reason I cannot get it to load at boot. Let's cat the FS tab, and you'll see, even though it's not loaded and not active, the SDA2 is recognized by my F tab file system table. Here it is right here, SDA2, default 00. Everything I've looked at says this is the way to set it up. And actually, I ran a GenFS tab space -U, I believe it was, during one of the trials trying to get this thing to activate at boot. And I'll show you some of those things that I tried right here. Swap on show, sudo file SDA2. That doesn't work. Possibly activating the swap, I went to the Xfce4 tab. I turned the swap on, and then I run GenFS tab -U space /. That set it up in the FS tab right here. Even though it was already there, I had checked it a couple times to make sure it was there, and it was. And so I turn it on and I do all these things, swap off, and then I mount it, and then I go to free, and it works. But when I reboot, it does not go in, it does not start up at boot. And this is a little aggravating because I want my swap on. So sudo swap on device SDA, was it 2 or 3? 2. Alright, so now if I run a lsblk, you'll see now it's mounted as swap. If we run that swap on S, you'll see there it is there. I have to do that manually every time, and so far I have scoured the internet trying to find a solution. I did everything I thought of to start with. None of that worked, so I started hitting the forums, Obarun forum, and a couple places. I followed, here's where I got that one I just showed you. Did it. Still does not work. I even checked Ubuntu, asked Ubuntu, and followed this, and I'm sorry, this was the swappiness. I'm sorry, because that didn't work in Obarun, the typical swappiness thing. Now I have a little script that I've designed here to tell me the date, and it shows the installation date of Obarun OS, which was January 27, 2023. So beginning of the year. The init system is S6 and 66. And I showed you those web pages. You'll have to research on how to enable, disable, stop, start services. Okay, now free memory here, that 8 gigabytes is showing up as my swap. So, and I got my vm.swappiness, the swappiness turned down to 10. And I've run a little script that shows me that returns a number 1, which means this is a hard drive, a rotational drive. And here's the disk that we just mounted, or is mounted. It's showing 298, but it's a list 325. Let me show you about that swappiness. It was just a little bit different swappiness. So I had to create a folder called sysctl.conf. We'll just go into that. I'll show you without sudo privileges. If you go all the way down to the bottom, whoops, there we go. VM swappiness equals 10. I didn't create this folder. I went to this folder and added VM swappiness equals 10. Let me get out of that. Rebooted, and it worked. So this is a little different place than you would do this in Arch. It's sysctl or sysctld.99 something that you create in a folder and it recognizes it. So I'm gonna start at the top here on my notes. Alright, so here's those links, and I'll make sure these and some others get in the description below or as titles more than likely. And I copied and pasted from their Obarun wiki, where it's not to explain in detail how to use those window managers, desktop, or the init system. They can answer, and you can search the wikis and stuff, but this is not meant for a first-time user of Arch Linux or any other Linux, really. It tells you your root password. This is for mainly when you're installing it. Your root login is root, password is tour, OB live for the user login, tour, the password. So I've covered all that before. That's pretty self-explanatory. Obarun OS can be installed from an existing Arch Linux system. So if you have Arch Linux and already up and running and you want to take out systemd, you can go to Obarun OS and it'll show you how to convert, snatch systemd, and now you'll be running the Obarun OS. I thought that was pretty slick. So you can make up your mind. You can try both sides of it with systemd and then without systemd and see what you think. I'm not sure how well that system works, but it's available. Here's the list of software that I installed, starting with the Xfce goodies, so that I got the whisker menu. You can pause the video if you're interested and just jog down or look at what I installed. Extension pack, I downloaded that and installed it through VirtualBox. Payview control is not installed with any Pulse Audio stuff. Xfce-A shows that we're using ALSA, and the Sound HDA Intel driver Right now it's picking up the webcam audio, but I'm not using it. This would be the device here, the PNP audio device. We're not using anything but also, which is okay as long as you can get it to work, which I did. But Payboot control and Pulse audio and all that stuff is available. Flatpak Chromium is not available in Pacman because it requires systemd. GUVC view, which I've got running here, it installs but requires Jack audio to start out of the menu. Jack server, of course, is not running and it's not installed. But if I run GUVC view in the terminal with sudo privileges, it's open. It's open right now. Now I went in and made sure that I was in any kind of group that would have anything to do with a webcam, and there's not a webcam D like in FreeBSD or Open. But video, that should have more than likely covered it. Audio, optical, storage, input, anything that's an input. So I have not been able to overcome that, but I just bring up a terminal and run sudo guvc view. It works for now. I'll figure out a way to get around that sooner or later. SuperTux cart will install. Spell check myself there. But it won't open from the menu. Again, it requires sudo SuperTux cart. And you just saw I was a member of the games. Let me run that again. A member of the games. The only thing I know to do now is make myself a member of the root group and maybe try to open them that way. I'm not sure. I may find a workaround, and if I do, I'll be sure to post it and help somebody else. You can run a PS command to find out verify whatever system you're running, which this is a command that I run in that script that I showed you, S6 and 66, which it could be very important. Like in other distros, they have different init systems, and if you didn't know what it was specifically, you could find that out. Now, Obarun OS does have one really cool factor. I think they don't install Yay or any other AUR helper by default except their own, and it's called PackOps. It's really pretty easy to use. There is no man, but you can go -H and get help. Here's the same options there. I'm going to close that out so it's not in the way. -Z, that would be for color. D is download, info, search, search, update, upgrade, install, or build. And here's the packages that I've installed using PackOps. The TTF MS fonts, image writer, Balena etcher, hard info, no more secrets, system monitoring system, and make MKV. And so far all of that works just fine. That's hard info, system monitoring system, again with all this cache going on. Let's see what we're using here. It said 7%. Uh-oh. It worked yesterday. I promise it did. Oh. Huh. None of it working. Except for the summary. CPUs, memory. I'm not sure what's happening with that. I'll figure that out later. It was working just fine. Yesterday, I used it several times. 1.5 gigabytes of memory. You got to give that to it. It is low on resources. Right now, I would have expected to see this on my Arch with Xfce4, probably pushing 2.5 or more gigabytes, especially since tabs are open in Firefox. It's using about 25% of the CPUs. Not bad. All right. What else? Okay, so we don't use a bash RC in aliases. Let me show you this graphically here. I'm going to Control H. Right here, ZSHRC. I'm going to open that up with FeatherPad. And here's where you would add your aliases. .zsh alias. It's a pretty good sized file. Let me see if I can find it. Aliases. And here's a couple that I've added. Alias neofetches, run through locat, cmatrix, and speed test. Let me close out of that before I mess anything up. But that's where you'd add your aliases right here under .zshrc. All right. Go back to hiding those files just so they're not in the way. Go back to my notes. cmatrix. So that's available. I got screensaver mode set up so any key stops it. Here again is the Obarun init system. I won't bother to read that. You can pause the video, or better yet, go to the websites here that I'll provide and read. You're going to want to know this stuff unless you already know it. Let's see. To verify the system, we did that. To list tools and services. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. I did record the install. If you want to see a service, you can run that through PS. So check SSH. So you know it's running here. That would be any other service, I'm assuming. Swap. Again, there's the stuff I've done. It's getting a little aggravating because I wouldn't have set a partition specifically for swap if I didn't want it to run. I don't want to have to do that manually every time, and so far I'm having to do that, as you saw. I even added it to the Xfce4 this line right here, swap. And this came straight from my forum. That didn't work either. So I tried like 4 different ways. My way the first 2 times, and then the internet, no, I'm sorry, my way the first time, and then my way, the internet's way 3 other times. And I still can't get it to activate when it boots. OBS Studio apparently requires a lot of work for the audio to work with only. Also, apparently it will not. It needs pulse audio, probably PAVU control. Not sure about the PAVU control, but for sure it needs some pulse audio stuff. A simple screen recorder records audio as well as Audacity, but OBS will not. It won't recognize anything. My time was wrong, so I had to figure out how to set the time, and here it is here. This would be with sudo privileges. There we go. Be sudo date, and then it's a 24-hour clock, month, day, hour, then minute in the year, or month in the minute, hour, minute in the year. And that'll set your clock up. Swappiness and Obarun OS. I just covered that. You can do that with the echo command too if you want to. Very easily done. The video devices, if I run this, it'll show me these here, and apparently they're owned by root. And even though I ran these commands to change ownership, it said it would change it. It said it changed ownership from root to Dennis in both cases, video 0, video 1. But it still would not work without me opening up a terminal and typing in sudo guvcview. Okay. Let me find that video of the install and try to run through that a little bit here. Install. Let's open that up with VLC. Close that. Let's change the speed a little bit. Video playback. Playback speed. Faster. So I've got simple screen recorder running, and we're going to open the installer. And I could not get the icon on the desktop to execute. So let's open up a terminal with sudo privileges. Obarun-install. There we go. Verifying network connection. So that was kind of, I don't know, it was in the menu. I could have tried that, but it was kind of weird. A new user may not know to do that. Open up a terminal and run the command. First, you're going to have to install the update packages. You're going to do this once and then twice. You can see this is not the Calamaris installer as well. This installer is great, but you'll have to do some thinking through the installer. It's not just fill in your name and click next. We're going to use a key map for the X environment. I chose United States. The method is UEFI. I'm going to choose the Xfce desktop. We're going to select the editor, Nano. Here I'm done. We're going to return. Choose a bootloader. I use Grub. Always had good luck with Grub. Disk partition. Now, this took me a second or two to get through. But you can see I'm going to create it's going to create an EFI boot partition. It's going to create a swap partition and a home partition as well as a root. And here's the root size. 100 gigs. Ext4. It's not like it's hard. It's just a little tedious. It takes you a minute. You have to think about what you're doing rather than just clicking next through the Calamaris installer. Right in the front, you can see it's not for the new to Linux user. We're going to refresh the mirrors worldwide. I chose. Okay. Advanced options. Nothing in there really I want to run. Could, but we'll return. Now we should say install. And so far we're close to 5 minutes into the install. Let's go through the little menu. As you can see, it's very minimal. Not much installed by default. I believe this is the OpenBox desktop that we're looking at. Alright, so it's downloaded the Obarun Art stuff. Now it's going to download the Xfce stuff. Making myself a little note there. I haven't had luck in the past with installing Obarun OS on a system using EFI or UEFI method. Always had to set it up with BIOS. That's the awesome mixer. That's where you can go gain quick control over your audio input and output. Gives you a little control over the adjustments or a little control over your volume here. I'll tell you, that's the web browser. I'm going to fast forward, skip forward, skip forward. That's the README. One thing I don't like because of the theme, when you highlight the icon, it basically disappears up there. It whites out. I'm sure that can't be that hard to fix. It doesn't do it in the live environment or the installed environment, or so far it has it anyway. That's pretty nice README on the hotkeys. I'm going to fast forward here. We're getting Linux, the stock Linux kernel. I'm going to skip forward. Back in their menu. AR&R, gparted htop, space FM for the file browser. And this, like I said, this is not the Xfce desktop. This is, pretty sure this is the JWM, JW Manager, J Window Manager. Skip forward. We're already 10 minutes in. Skip forward. I'm going to pause the recording. I came back. It's almost done. I wish the live environment would copy over the Obarun wallpaper. I really don't like the fact that they don't have some personalized wallpapers. Looks like I paused it again. It's through it downloading. It is going to install. We should be getting close to selecting grub and adding a user with the password. Skip forward. There we go. Enter password for the root user. Okay. Do I want to install a bootloader? Yes. If you're dual booting, you may not want a bootloader. Alright, now we're going to select my boot partition, which is SDA1. And it's not a removable media. If you click yes there, it will fail. It has every single time for me. So I select no. I don't want to manually edit my grub config, although I could put the swap file in there, or swap partition. Host name, I left it at OB66, Obarun 66. Country, for me it's America, Chicago. Key maps US, enter a username, me. And key maps good, advanced options, we're good here. Go back, we're going to apply. Now it's going to be adding the user. We're going to need a password for the user. Skip forward, skip forward, skip forward. Now I'm going to plug in a USB drive, the one I just plugged in to get the video off of. I'm going to create a folder, and then I'm going to save the video loaded on that folder before I reboot. So I'm going to fast forward. Space FM as root. Space FM. Make sure it's there. Fast forward. Fast forward. Fast forward. Fast forward. Obarun install. Creating a new folder on the 32 on the USB drive, thumb drive. Alright, that's it. Closed it out. We're done. I rebooted, and this is the system now. Let's look at my menu. We've looked at my notes. Or did I turn them off? Okay, so under my favorites, I got the Thunar File Manager, which is a default application. I've installed Featherpad, OBS Studio, Kdenlive. Flatpak is not available, or at least I haven't found a way to make it available in Obarun. I may eventually find a way to get it installed Flatpak, but it's not looking good. Audacity, Krita, Simple Screen Recorder, which is working right now, KSysGuard, Space FM, that's their default file browser, System Profiler and Benchmark. Let's see if the monitoring system will open this time. Nope. Huh. I'm going to have to reinstall it, I guess, or get rid of it altogether. It's not working. Huh. Interesting. GUVC view is here. It does work if you run it with sudo privileges. Let's see here. Sudo. Let me do this first. Let me go to my menu, go to games, go to super text cart, click on it, and nothing. So while we're waiting, sudo super text cart, and bam, there it is. So it's owned by root. Even though I'm in a game, I'm going to have to put myself in the root group, I guess, because that's the only way I know to correct this. But I did plug in my, you maybe can hear the audio, I did plug in my controller, game controller. It recognized it, and I actually played a couple of games in it. So that works with sudo privileges. Under accessories, let's see, Balena Etcher, calculator. Main menu, that's a la carte, SUSE image writer, sensor view, under development, education, games, everything works. Graphics, I still got some things I could install, such as GIMP or Blender. Internet, I got Firefox and Qubit torrent. Under multimedia, Audacity, Bracero, quite a few things like HD jack. Why do you boot override, read documentation? So why, if it don't have jack installed, why is that there? Don't know that. HDA jack retask. Might have to investigate that. That might help solve some of my audio problems here. Simple screen recorder, VLC, MPV, Voco screen, Office. We got the full suite of LibreOffice. We do have a PDF viewer and a dictionary. Alright, under other, I got Balena Etcher and SUSE image writer. I put them in the other category here, but with a la carte or main menu. System. File Manager PC-FM, that's right there. PC Man FM. G-Party came in by default. HTOP came in by default. KSysGuard I installed. A VirtualBox. System monitoring system. Terminator came in by default. I think that's going to be about it on the video. I'll make sure all these links, as best I can, will get in the video. You can see here the programs that I've installed. I did not bring up VirtualBox, but let's bring it up. And this is version 7.06, revision 15.51.76. This Artix Linux, it is installed. Like I said, VirtualBox installed, works just fine. I think that's going to cover it. I'm going to try to keep it as quick as I can. I probably went way over just going through the installation. ObarunOS, systemd free. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would, but not to a new to Linux, specifically Artix Linux user. I would say that if you're the kind of guy that likes to sit down and figure out how something works and then make things work that only you want them to work, and you don't want the system to do them for you, Obarun is excellent. Most everything I've tried, I haven't found any surprises in. I am going to put myself in the root group just to see if that'll change the behavior of GUVCView and Super Tux Cart. I need a haircut. My hair keeps tickling me. Anyway, I guess that's going to do it. Give Obarun a try. It's been out here for a while, and like I said, if you want to be in control of your system, Obarun provides a way for you to do that, and you're going to have to do the research if you don't already know about it. I didn't know anything about it when I first tried it a few years back now, and I ruined my review because I didn't know enough about it to make it work. But now, as you can see, everything is working. I got a USB microphone on. I got my webcam going. The audio with nothing but ALSA is running. It works. Now, if that can work for you and you're interested in just, making your machine do only what you want it to do, Obarun may be your option. Thanks, guys, very much for watching. I'll catch you on another video. Peace out. Bye.